Let's explore adjusting your tension on the Singer Simple sewing machine. So yes, this knob here is to adjust the tension, but I will tell you it always gets such a bad rap. Everybody thinks if something goes wrong, the tension is off. Now, I do actually have two different threads in the machine. I actually have a variegated thread up top and a solid pink color in my bobbin. So as I change the tension, you can actually see what's changing. Since I do know these two threads are different thicknesses, that means that what was used to be a matched set is no longer matched. They're a little offset. So I might adjust the tension a little bit just because I have two different weights. Now, if you've ever been stitching and you have all those hairy loops on the back of your fabric, it is not tension as in turn the dial, fix it. That is a operator error actually. It means your top thread didn't get actually in deep enough into this groove, and by rethreading your machine you will fix that problem. And here's a quick little test to know if you're having that problem at all. So for example, if your presser foot is up, you will find that this thread pulls out very easily. And you always want to have your presser foot up when you thread the machine. That's because when you bring your thread down through here, it can get all the way in where those two discs are. Once the presser foot lowers, those discs close on the thread. And now when I pull on this thread that was loose, now it's not. Now it's really tight. It's actually dragging my needle kind of side to side. So I know my thread is all the way deep enough into the tension. So let's just say we are working with two different weights of thread, and possibly I'm set up for a really wide zigzag for right now. This is one way you can kind of tell whether things are looking good or not. Okay, so on the front we do see just normal stitching of that variegated thread, and on the back we have the pink thread. And I am getting just a little bit pulled to the back side, which is actually what you want on a stitch that's this wide. Let me give you an example. I'm going to turn this looser, so that means this thread is not as strong as it was, and now my bobbin thread is going to be the stronger thread, and it's going to pull the top thread down to the back side. And here's how we can see. Okay, so it still stitches, still looks okay, but now when I flip it over, see how much of that colored thread I see back here? It has almost like these little lines instead of a little point at each of the zigzag. So I can tell, now this would be like, hey, did I put my bobbin in correctly? Is it spinning correctly? Is it in the tension disc? Those are things I would check first. Have I put a new needle in? Have I cleaned the machine before you start turning tension? But since I do know that I loosened it by putting it back, so if you ever have little fun fingers that come visit you, and they love to turn dials, don't they? If they just turned it, it's no big deal, just turn it back. 4 was kind of that middle area to start with. And vice versa, if I made this really, really tight, if I think about it, what would happen if I make this tight? It's going to pull that pink thread up to the top, possibly a little bit more than I saw. Sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't, and actually I'm not even seeing it really pulled much more than normal. I'm not seeing pink thread, so that's still okay, and it actually looks the stitch actually looks identical on both sides. So remember I said these two different threads were different weights? Actually that is the balance by turning it a little bit more. So here's the trick. If you know you need to adjust tension because of the maybe two different threads, and you can't remember which way to go, one is going to make it worse, and the other is going to make it better. So don't be afraid to turn it, just like I am, but do make sure that you kind of get it back to normal when you have the same weight of thread. Again, good quality thread. We mentioned cleaning your machine can make all the difference. And in the point where you just can't figure out what's going on, your machine might just need a general cleaning and tune-up. So take it to your local sewing machine store and they will go ahead and clean it from top to bottom. There's a lot of moving parts all through here that you and I don't clean or get to, and they do need oil on an annual basis. So keep that in mind, take care of your machine, and it will take care of you.